Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the woods behind the Knife Center, and today we're going to be learning some survival skills. Not from me, I brought in an expert though.
Hey guys, I'm Joe Flowers. You ready to use some big knives and go cut some stuff?
Absolutely. The purpose of this is to teach my co-host Seth some survival knife skills. He picked himself out a BK9 a couple weeks ago because he wanted a survival knife. Now it's time he learned how to use it. Seth, you got your BK9?
Sure do.
Joe, you got a BK9?
Yes sir, got my own.
I got one too. Let's have some fun.
Seth, we're gonna go take this big knife and we're gonna make big pieces of wood smaller. And then we're gonna set them on fire and feel cool like the 80s.
Wow, survival sounds easy.
Yeah, it is. Dude. You gotta get a bandana though, like a red bandana. Can we get one out here? We'll have to use blood. Don't worry, we're also gonna teach safety so you can keep all 10 of these. Because, you know, you wanna be able, do you play guitar or anything?
I play
after
drums.
this.
I don't need all the fingers for that.
Ah, perfect,
Yeah.
great. So Seth, the idea behind a one stick fire is to use one stick to start from everything from kindling to Tinder to all of that using your knife skills. Now this incorporates a whole bunch of different outdoor, bushcraft, and even survival skill tasks to make a fire. And we're gonna be using a big knife today, just like your BK9.
Cool.
But I also want you to learn how to do some really fine carving with your knife as well.
Sweet.
But you picked a really interesting cutting tool. Tell me about this awesome piece of US made equipment you have.
Yeah, I was looking at a bunch of different stuff. The survival knife was a gaping hole in my collection. I just didn't have anything quite like this. And I settled on the BK9, I think because it's a classic, because it's big enough to chop with, and because it's kind of modular. There's a lot of modifications you can do. You can get micarta handles for it if you want. There are people with off-the-shelf aftermarket sheaths, so I figured I could kind of learn something about survival and take it in a direction that worked for me.
Yeah, that way you can kind of make this yours, and then you know if you want to go to something else later on, you really have a really cool foundation to start on. This is my personal one too. It's a little bit older, but it's from a time before I started designing. Way back in the day, I used to write for a publication called Tactical Knives Magazine, and Stephen Dick, the editor, had me take this knife all the way down to Florida and go on a Burmese python hunt. I wrote an article about it and got to know Ethan Becker. He really helped inspire me to do a lot of different designs, and I really like the edge geometry on the BK9. It's one of my favorite edge geometries out of all the knives that I've seen that are made out of factories. But the type of heat treat in the steel makes it really excel at chopping and big knife tasks.
Sweet, sounds like I made a good choice.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing that we need to do for a one stick fire is learn how to chop the tree that we're looking for. So you're gonna be holding, instead of a big hard grip like this, you can have this okay grip like this and get a lighter chop that way.
So the handle kind of moves around?
Yeah. And then another one too, I like to do this with the lanyard for knives under like 10 inches. When it gets higher than that, sometimes having this come closer to your body is bad for like a machete, right? So you can also hold back here and get more weight with that nub. That's one of the genius things about this design.
Yeah.
You can hold it back here and you can get a little bit more clearance. So you're gonna be practicing those on dead trees and some live sweet gums since they grow back so easily here.
Cool.
So Seth, today I'm gonna show you chopping with a backstop. It's a great way to get a little bit more confidence. What I want you to see is how different it is chopping straight on a piece of wood versus chopping at an angle, and start using the blade while you're chopping in different ways to see how you can get the edge to work. You can even start doing small chops like that. Then we'll go after real stuff to set on
Bigger
fire.
piece.
As you're using this, you're gonna be able to feel where the sweet spot is on the knife.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to take that knowledge and use it on the tree that we're going after.
Excuse me.
Oh, my bad. Great job.
We're getting to the thicker part.
It's because you're lifting it off the table. There you go.
Ah.
All of the energy is going into the table, right? That's why it's better to chop or split on something hard too.
The angle makes a big difference.
Yeah, big time.
Even against this backstop, I'm kind of surprised.
It really does. Even
This
on
way
ground,
is stopping everything.
Yeah,
but
it's exactly how that works. And that's what carving needs to work with, is always angles. Not saying I'm the best carver, but that's what you're doing. You're carving really fast.
there we go. Gotcha again.
You got me once, yeah. Tried to catch it and I wasn't paying attention. Whew. See, it's when it doesn't go through, when you just lift it off just a little bit. All of that force reduction happens and blah, blah, blah science. All right, now we have a tree that's over there, kind of at an angle that's fallen. You can see it right over there. That's what we're gonna go check out and see if that'll do a good tree for the first one. Now, Seth, what we have here is tulip poplar, and this is gonna make a great wood for you to learn on. But first, we're gonna take some of this bark off because you can actually use this for fire starting.
Okay.
There are some techniques and some things you wanna be aware of. You can pry away from you. You can pry towards you. You don't want to pry too much with the tip. You just want to kind of push it in and get it off of this.
Sure.
You can even use your hand at some broken parts. If you're up here and you're scraping stuff off like this, you want to be careful of pulling it back down towards yourself. With that being said, I'm going to show you a safety trick later to have a little bit safer way to do this. But just for right now, it's like prying. You're not using all of your energy to do that.
Just the bark, it's barely on there.
Right, and you can pull it upwards too and make it safe as well. Just be aware of that.
Cool.
All right, now lift up towards the top of the tree like this. Yeah, so you can get a long piece.
Ooh, we found an ant colony.
That looks like a pretty good bundle there.
Yeah.
You can make some cordage out of that later too if you want to, but we'll set that aside for right now and get to chopping. Now, this is a Condor Batonada. I wanted to bring this out just because I haven't really used it as much as I'd like to in the North American woods. So the key for chopping through this is the distance. Don't get right up on it. Make sure that at a big distance away. Look around you to make sure you're not about to hit a vine. Make sure there's no ant or bug nest up high that might come buzzing at you. A lot of people like to make these tiny little bite marks in wood. Let me demonstrate on this one. Tiny little bite marks. When you want to go almost as wide as the piece of wood or wider, because you want to have big chips come out, and then you start making those chips kind of come together to get big chunks. This is a rotten piece of wood I'm demonstrating on, but that shallower grip is where you want. Always keep in mind to watch your opposite leg because you can hit that very easily. It's actually one of the more common cuts with an axe and a machete, so you can switch your stance up. And you can also check how you're holding your tool as well and see if you can get a little bit more power by holding it from behind. Go ahead and give it a whack.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. You did a great job chopping that. You can see how you're looking for those big chunks to come out to save some energy. Now, in this 90-degree heat, it did take some energy out of you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There is a way to save your edge on your knife in a survival situation once you get the tree chopped down, and also save some calories and save some energy, which we really want to do out in this heat right now. All right, so we're going to save your blade by looking for a crotch.
Cool.
Of a tree. This is two trees here. These happen to be tulip poplar again. And you're gonna be sticking this wood in between both of them and using force to break it for you. You can even get it to splinter out some smaller pieces. Hey, check it out. This one's full of termites.
Ooh, snacks.
3 pieces. Are you showing off? Now check it out, you can kind of see how it's almost splitting some of the wood itself too. Sometimes you can use that and follow along the splits to actually have this do some of the work for you before you process your wood. Good job.
Yeah, that really was a lot easier than chopping.
Yeah. Swish. When you're angry, you can just, and then break it off that way. But make sure you do it away from the camera. Now you were able to cheat a little bit by getting this really nice fiber from this tulip poplar that'll catch a spark. So we're going to do spark-based fire making, but I also want you to learn how to do some really fine carving with your knife as well.
Cool.
There are many ways that you can bend a piece of wood, break a piece of wood, or split a piece of wood. This is another method. You want to be careful of your fingers getting so close. I like to use the end of a stump or the ends of some roots or something like that and pop my knife through there and then be able to snap it to get to smaller pieces. And you can move that over there and work this guy to do the same thing to get smaller pieces that way. You want to be careful of how close your hands are to the knife though.
There we go.
There, now you're feeling it. Now, that's
Yeah.
very good pieces. The thing you just want to be in mind of is when you start getting closer and closer to your hands, that's when you want to start thinking of, okay, maybe I should go like that, or even have it in some way to make sure that your hand's nowhere near the chopping
Keep it
area.
further away from you.
Yeah, yeah. Now we have a nice elevated platform. Doing this on your knees can work too, but now you're going to be trying to get very fine curls, and I want you just to work, not even on trying to keep them on the stick like a fuzz stick, because you can work, depending on your knife, you'll raise it at the end and then have a little gouge for everything to go on. Just work on getting some curls. I just want you to get used to trying getting 4 of those little things right there. And now I'll show you some other methods here to do it with one hand as well. But go ahead and try and get as fine of carving material as you can. And just work on getting the curls. Good, now when you're doing this, start spinning it and get the facets each corner. Cool. Now go ahead and hack all that off, like right at the tough part right there. Yep, and save it. Oh, normally you'd want to always save on one thing, but try and save it all together because you're going to be using that for later.
Cool.
But you have a lot of that. So you're going to be working with this a lot, you know, working this way, then twist, 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 twist. Go ahead and get lots of carving. Lots of carvings down. And sometimes you'll want to clear like an avenue with your knife, be it big or small, to work down.
Just to make a nice
yeah,
long
so that way
working
you're
place.
able to get a lot of really cool curls and stuff too.
Pretty good little pile.
Yeah, this is a great pile. Even this will catch. We can try it with the fire steel too, just to see if we can get this to catch. This is a little bit different than your feather stick or fuzz stick style. You could still do that with that large knife just as easily, but this is more of a fun way just to start getting stuff survival efficient right away instead of working forever to get the most beautiful curls too. I'm going to show you a couple other methods real quick as well. If I may see this piece of wood here,
Sure.
you can take your knife, which would work better because this batonada doesn't have a point at the end, and you can put it down on a stump or once again a tree root or something like that and get fine curls that way too, very, very, very quickly. So this is a really fun way you can get very fine curls, especially with the edge geometry that's on a BK9 too. It also can work if you're one-handed to get scrapes going and also to strike a fire steel. So work using the knife situated very safely in this backstop and work on carving with the backstop very lightly, just like that too. This wood has a lot of knots in it, so you won't get those nice, beautiful curls that we would if we had a great straight grain piece of wood. So you have curls big enough to catch a spark.
Cool.
You also have the really cool option of using this bark here, the tulip poplar bark. So you're going to use the pommel in the back of the knife to pound that out and make it more fluffy. But then we got to look for your kindling, the stuff that's actually going to keep the fire going after we have this.
So just kind of fluffing this
Yep.
up and
There you go. You're going to be doing that for a while too. The more fluffy you get it, the more chances you have of catching a spark, and the more oxygen the bird's nest that you're making can catch. Look at that. So you've got this really, really fluffy. You can use your fingers to kind of tweeze it apart too. Sometimes I like to take my hands and roll it up too, but we're really sweaty right now and that can catch some of your sweat. So when I'm doing this, I'm careful how much I'm dripping into it too, because you want all your chances there. So you just see how it's kind of tweezing apart like a fine tinder?
yeah, we definitely don't want the tinder to be wet.
Right. And that can happen if you put it and like gather it and put it in your pocket and you get really sweaty out here too. That can happen. It's happened to me a bunch of times. Now that we have so much tinder, we got to go collect the kindling, and that's something around your pinky and a little bit less wide, and we want to get a whole bunch of that, even more than both of this put together, so that we can have lots of fire. Fire good. Now there's different ways of doing that with the one stick fire. We can pull it from the stick. I don't recommend doing this though, and then moving your hand out of the way. It doesn't seem like a good idea, so I'll use that and kind of process it that way to get smaller sticks. And you can keep doing that too. You can even anchor it into an old rotten log. So here, practice using like one of these safety helper sticks. And you're not trying to way up tie. You're just trying to start it and kind of break it off.
Really small pieces.
Yeah, very fragile pieces. The more fragile it is, probably the more flammable it is, because it's going to be drier. But you also want to keep all these on your hands. There you go. Now another way to get one of those kindling sized pieces of wood is one of the most controversial subjects in the knife world.
Whoa.
You're about to learn the essence of batoning. Now, batoning is just making a big piece of wood and then moving it down into smaller pieces of wood. What you'll see is normally it's a beautiful sawed thing, and you can get just
like
right.
this.
Yes, exactly, and it's perfect. And we'll be able to really work. A lot of people like to break right on the inside. I sometimes work on the outside of it, and then I have a corner to work with there to really pop through. And then I'm gonna come back and work that corner. And now I'm gonna come back and get my baton. This one hasn't been all nice and batoned out, made yet with a nice handle, but we'll get there. Processing on the outside. And if you do it this way, you can make it look really, really easy, really efficient. Maybe even split it right down the middle. But you don't get to use that nice, beautiful, well-prepared piece.
It wasn't part of my one stick, no.
No, you have to do this the actual survival way. So I'd chop a piece out here, and then we'll go over some more techniques about it. So chop one, maybe a piece that's not gonna give you so much heck. So there's a knot right here. Maybe chop right underneath that with this as a backstop.
Okay.
Good, now rotate it. Yep, chop again. Rotate it again, chop again. Now do that monkey bop thing. Monkey sound. Ta-da! See, it's gotta be the sound, it really works. Now you have a wonderful piece. Go ahead and grab the knife, and you're gonna maybe use your knife to process this a little bit flatter. Sometimes that can help before you're about to split. Seth, you got a naughty problem here.
Yeah.
That's okay. This is survival, so you're gonna have to power through it. So you're gonna use your knife. You can, if you want to, even use a helper stick to figure out and get it stuck there. Then you're gonna use, not my beautiful hickory piece, but this other piece of tulip poplar, and try and baton through this and see if you can split this. Now this puts a lot of pressure on a knife, and it's not something that you always wanna do, but this isn't a huge log. We'll pay attention to that knot. We'll see if we can go straight through it. You got your setup going pretty well. I would take, this is totally unsafe guys, but I would take and give yourself a little bit more space there so you can hit more of the tip. The more pressure if you hit here, the more chances you have of breaking the knife. And that's where batoning becomes controversial.
Close.
Looks like you batoned some stuff before. You can
Not
read.
my first baton. Won't be my last, hopefully.
You can read the wood now, so now you might be able to break this way and get some smaller pieces. Once again, you can use that helper stick to gain some confidence figuring out where that is. You can also do this, but I'd be really careful with that, with doing that. And go ahead and see if you can split it out this way. I don't know why my voice gets automatically deeper.
Batoning just brings it out of people.
Yeah. Excellent. Now you've got some more kindling that you're working on, some thicker kindling. Seth, you have all of the stuff in front of you to make a beautiful fire.
Yeah.
You just gotta take it easy and make sure you get the small pieces on top of the conflagration that you're gonna try and make. But all of this is from the same piece of wood. Go for it.
Okay, it's all from the one stick. I got my Exotac rod here and my SE Striker. Let's see if I can get a fire going. Oh, starting. Oh, oh. No, not quite.
Sometimes you'll have to take it and then.
There we go.
Light, light. Little bit of blowing. Okay, now more stuff.
We're smoking.
Yep, the thin guys, very cool. Now start building up your log cabin style with the really, really thinnest stuff that you can find. You got a little time, you're good. Now comes fire management. You want to give it a little bit of places to breathe a little bit so it can come in between the tendrils. And then slow, long blows, not one hard one. Slow, long ones, as long as you can. Good, it's going. It's going. Now you can just leisurely keep building it up.
Beauty.
It's already caught some of your other stuff on the outlier of the fire going,
Yeah,
so just
check that
move
out.
those in, yeah. That shows you how good your prep was. Now this shows how you can find very, very dry material when it's raining out, but this stuff can catch a lot of the humidity too, so you want to be careful of that and use it right away. That's kind of why it didn't, even though it was a beautiful, fluffy material, it won't catch right away, is because it's really humid out here.
It's absorbing all the atmospheric.
Yeah, so you want to do it in the sun if you can. Believe it or not, these little tips can help in the long run.
That's a pretty big one. See what it'll take.
Another really cool tip, I keep thinking of Godzilla when I do it, but if you learn all of this free diving, things like opening up as much of your lungs as possible.
There we go.
The length is what really does it.
I was holding back. I should have been.
No, you just fill up your lungs more, and then you feel like Godzilla. So this was a basic way to make a one-stick fire, not trying to get all of our curls perfect for Instagram pictures and things like that. But hey, I need to do a lot of prep, and you really focused on a ton of prep too, and that's really important when you're doing survival stuff, especially if you're limited to one option, such as your large survival knife.
I'm feeling good about this.
Yeah, it feels really good to be next to this fire in 99-degree heat. I am so thankful.
I'm
that
feeling
you're able
proud, but not grateful to be so near to the heat.
I'm pretty grateful for it. You did it at 96, my bad. So yeah, great job, dude. This is how you get used to using your hands more in the bush. You don't have to do this out in the middle of the southeastern jungle too. You can do this anywhere in your backyard, even with construction items as well. So it's very easy to do.
Sweet. Thank you so much for showing me how to do a one-stick fire. A bunch of the techniques that we went into that we didn't even have time to get on camera. You're just such a wealth of knowledge.
Well, the best part is we have all our fingers so far. And, you know, if DCA was in here, I'd be wielding around the flames and all that stuff. But you're much better and insured, so.
Well, yeah, thanks again, Joe.
Hey, no problem. Hey, where do we find out more information?
Oh, you can go to KnifeCenter.com.
Awesome.
We've got the Becker BK9. We have a bunch of your designs in stock.
Cool,
The
excellent.
Batonata you were using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So if you guys want to find more out about what I do, Joe Flowers Bushcraft Global on Instagram, bushcraftglobal.com, and smash that subscribe button.
Yeah. Check out the links in the description for everything you saw here, and make sure to follow Joe too.